Hey there, and welcome. When you think about getting paid for your job, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Your salary, right? Well, what if I told you there's a massive part of your compensation that most people completely overlook? Today, we are pulling back the curtain on something called discretionary benefits, and we're going to show you what's really there.
Okay, get ready for this number. $18,000. That's what the average cost of these extra benefits was per employee per year. Think about that for a second. That's a huge chunk of value that you're not seeing in your weekly or biweekly paycheck. It's kind of like this hidden bonus, just sitting there in plain sight.
So that leads to the obvious question, right? What in the world are these benefits? Where did they even come from? And why on earth are companies spending so much money on them? Well, that's exactly what we're about to get into.
So here's the game plan. We'll start by talking about this idea of a hidden paycheck. Then we'll look at why these perks even exist in the first place. After that, we'll break down the three main types of benefits, do a little deep dive on retirement plans, because those are super important, and then we'll wrap it all up with what this means for you.
All right, first things first. Let's completely reframe how we think about this. This isn't just about a few nice perks. No. This is a fundamental part of your compensation that goes way beyond your salary.
And here's the key word you need to know: discretionary. All that means is that your employer is not legally required to offer them. They are choosing to do this, which, tells you a whole lot about the kind of company they are.
But, these benefits didn't just pop up out of thin air. They actually have a pretty fascinating history that goes hand in hand with how the modern workplace has changed over time.
It really kicked off with early retirement plans. But pretty soon, companies realized they could use benefits to compete for good employees without just throwing more salary at them. This whole idea grew out of these old industrial welfare practices, companies offering basic housing or medical care just to get workers in the door. And while unions weren't always fighting for these specific perks, their push for better conditions definitely helped the cause. Now, fast forward to today, and these benefits have just exploded to support a workforce that's way more diverse and has a much wider range of needs.
Okay, let's get into the real meat of this explainer. You can pretty much group all of these benefits into three simple categories. If you can get your head around these three, you'll understand your entire compensation package so much better.
So, the three flavors are protection programs. Think of these as your financial safety net. Then there's paid time off, which is, pretty self-explanatory. And finally, services. These are all the extras that just make your life better. Let's take a look at each one.
Protection programs are, I'd argue, the most important ones. Their whole job is to protect you and your family from a huge financial hit if something totally unexpected happens, like a bad illness or a disability that means you can't work.
And under this big umbrella, you've got three heavy hitters: disability insurance to protect your paycheck, life insurance to protect your family, and retirement programs to protect your future self. Let's break down those first two real quick.
All right, and this is where you really need to pay attention to the fine print. Short-term disability, that usually covers you if you can't do your specific job. So, a surgeon who injures their hand, that makes sense. But long-term is often a whole different ballgame. It might only kick in if you're unable to do any job that you're qualified for. See that little switch? That change in wording is absolutely crucial. You have to know what your policy says.
Life insurance also comes in a few different forms. Term life is the most basic. It covers you for a set amount of time. Whole life is just what it sounds like. It's permanent. And then there's universal life, which is kind of a flexible mix of the two. Just so you know, most plans from an employer are term life.
So, while those programs are all about protecting you from the big, scary stuff, our next category is about something we all need, just a little time away from work. Let's talk about paid time off, which is about giving you paid leave for all sorts of things, not just your annual vacation.
And man, the options here can be pretty wide. You've got your standard vacation and sick days, of course, but a lot of companies also offer paid time for things like jury duty, for new parents, and more, even for personal growth stuff like sabbaticals or taking time to go volunteer.
Okay, our third and final category is services. Just think of these as all the benefits that are designed to help you grow and just improve your overall well-being, both at work and at home.
And this category is just huge. It can be anything from helping you pay for school or your student loans to wellness programs that help you manage stress, workshops on financial planning, and even help finding a new job if you get laid off.
Okay, it's time for our deep dive. Out of all the benefits we've talked about,
Retirement plans are often the most valuable, and honestly, the most confusing. So let's decode the two main types you're likely to see. Over on the left, you've got the classic pension, also called a defined benefit plan. With this, the company promises you a fixed monthly check in retirement, and they take on all the risk of the stock market. On the right, you've got the much more common 401k or a defined contribution plan. In this case, your payout totally depends on how your investments perform, which means you, the employee, are the one taking on the risk. It's a big reason why pensions have become so rare.
So, how does a 401k actually grow? Well, it's a two-part deal. First, there's your part, the money you put in straight from your salary. But the second part, and honestly, this is the magic ingredient, is the employer contribution. You've probably heard of it as the company match. This is literally your boss putting money into your account just because you did. It is, and I'm not exaggerating here, free money. It is probably the single most powerful tool in your entire benefits package.
Phew, okay. We have covered a ton of ground. We've talked protection, time off, services, retirement. So let's pull back and look at the big picture here. What does all of this actually mean for you?
Here's the big takeaway. Your benefits package is not just a bunch of nice-to-have perks. It's a statement. It's a direct reflection of what a company cares about, what its culture is like, and most importantly, it's an absolutely essential tool for building your own financial security for the long haul.
Let me put it this way. Really getting a handle on your discretionary benefits, it's like discovering you have a second, hidden paycheck. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You will never, ever look at a job offer the same way again.
At the end of the day, these benefits are a massive part of your professional story and your entire financial life. So do yourself a favor, go take a closer look at your own package. What does it say about the company you work for? And what does it say about the future you're building?